We come from a long line of bakers. Oh, I hear the coffee in the background. My mom baked, I'm sure her family baked. I baked with my kids, but one thing that I never made was a gingerbread house. I'm going to show you how I made this gingerbread house that's pretty much good enough to eat. In the basement, we had an old wooden dollhouse that we found last summer. The first step was to figure out what a gingerbread color looked like, so I used 3 colors of Debbie's DIY. Firestarter, layered chocolate, and Crinoline. I mixed them 1 to 1 to 1 to get a gingerbread color. And then I painted the entire house. Then I took to Pinterest and started looking for gingerbread house inspiration. In order to create the frosting, of course, I used Debbie's DIY paint frosting. It's a new product that thickens Debbie's DIY paint. That little bottle will thicken 3 pints of paint. Since I'm working with such a small amount of paint, I used a straw as a pipette to just put a few drops into about a 1/3 cup of paint. Mix it well, and it starts to thicken immediately. I prepared mint chip, Petticoat Pink, and white Swan. I prepared some of these about 2 weeks in advance, put them in an airtight container, and they still have that wonderful frosting consistency. I'm using JRV Stencil Mermaid scales to create the frosting on the roof. Position the stencil in place and then apply the paint frosting with an Iod silicone blade. Work a section at a time, allowing each area to dry completely before moving on to the next area. And in the meantime, I'm going to prepare my molds. These are the Iod molds that I used. I've listed all of them in the description box below. Dust the inside of the mold with cornstarch and use air dry clay to create all the trimmings and pieces that you're going to use on the gingerbread house. I did a lot of these ahead of time and then dried them in a dehydrator. I'll be using this piece of trimmings mold as a swag on the porch. I'll let it dry on its own in this shape so that I can more easily apply it to the house. So this is where you just get to go crazy and add all of that trim. Use your imagination, make it as simple or as complex as you want. I gotta tell you though, it's hard to know when to stop. Glue the molds in place with your favorite wood glue, or I use Tite Bond Quick and Thick, and then touch up with a Q-tip. To make the little wreaths for the door, I used a section of the Laurel mold, formed a circle, and overlapped the ends. I added more paint frosting to the steps and the base of my house. This stuff is really cool. It actually spreads like frosting. Now I'm going to start to add some color frosting to the holly leaves and the little pine trees. I painted lots and lots and lots of these little trim pieces with Petticoat Pink. We just continued to add more and more molds and then embellish them with paint. It's all of these little details that really bring our gingerbread house to life. I used a bottle of dimensional acrylic paint with a small tip to create the grid lines. After you have added all of those wonderful, sugary, frosting-y, colorful details, seal the entire piece with Debbie's DIY Clear Liquid Patina. Now it's time to add some sparkle. Into the wet liquid patina, I sprinkled lots and lots of glitter. Then for some very special extra texture, I added some details with German cut glass glitter. Little red beads were then added to the swags.
Take 10.
We created a beautiful heirloom piece that's going to stay in our family for many generations.
I hear the coffee in the background.
Oh. Oh no, you can keep going.
We come from a long, but it's interesting.
You'll find everything that I used for our gingerbread house at our brick and mortar store in Medina, New York, or on lnjgoods.com. I've provided a list of all of the materials that I used in the description box below.